obscure city is a place where you can find many unique dangers. This is where she works, Cassandra Killjoy, paranormal private eye. Now a teenage girl's father has gone missing, and Killjoy believes that the city's enigmatic protector, the swordsman, is the key to finding him. So Killjoy must face many deadly dangers in her search for the swordsman. Available on Amazon.com. Alexandria is still under siege by the Chroma Conclave, and while 2 of its members have been slain, 3 still remain at large. So once again, it is up to the mischievous mercenaries known as Vox Machina to put an end to their reign. But the closer they get to achieving this objective, the more it becomes clear that this great task will come at a great cost. Greetings, fanboys and fangirls, I'm Erod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster, and so, once again, it has begun. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the cast and crew of Vox Machina, as they have produced yet another extraordinary season, one that initially promised to be the Empire Strikes Back of the saga. And as far as I'm concerned, they delivered, garnering a 100% certified fresh critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and ranking #1 on Prime Video for several weeks. And that is nothing to sneeze at. But before we jump into this, the usual disclaimers apply. There will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen The Legend of Vox Machina seasons 1 through 3, you might want to stop the video here. Furthermore, this is an adult animated series. It has a little bit of nudity, a fair amount of gore, and lots of curse words.
Shitcock! Oh, I am so sorry, ma'am.
You've been warned. Alright, enough formalities. Everybody roll initiative, and let's do this. The plot. While Vox Machina has made meaningful progress in collecting the vestiges of Divergence, ancient weapons powerful enough to slay titans, and proven their might by defeating the dragon Umbrasyl, his all-powerful leader, Thordak, still remains, as well as his 2 most dangerous subordinates, his enforcer, Vurigal, and his devious consultant, Rayshawn, with whom our heroes have made an uneasy alliance. And thus, under the deceased deceiver's guidance, our daring defenders will brave all new dangers to acquire the power to complete their arduous task. But little do they know that the biggest challenges that they will face will be of their own making.
So, we all going out the window?
Character design and animation. As per usual, I can't compliment Titmouse Incorporated enough. Every season of this series, they somehow raise the bar of quality for the animation. Special shout out to art director Arthur Loftus, who somehow always meets every challenge the cast and creators throw his way. This year in particular, him and his amazing crew managed to pull off one of the most complex war scenes in the history of animation. Phil Barusa's designs continue to stun and astonish, as he brilliantly and skillfully continues to bring the denizens of Alexandria to life.
Vox Machina, you certainly know how to make an entrance.
Furthermore, for Season 3, the creators needed the dragons to be more emotive, so they were given an upgrade. This task fell to technical director Eddie Gonzalez, who ensured that the many scenes in which the dragons had to deliver powerful performances came across as seamless and natural as possible. And as far as I'm concerned, this is some of the best CG and creature work I have ever seen. And fun fact, most of Thordak's expressions and reactions were directly based on Matt Mercer.
You forget what you do on camera sometimes.
Cast and characters. It's been 3 years and I'm still stunned at the amazing amount of guest stars that this show manages to acquire. Like Mara Janot, Rachel House, Kimiko Glenn, Lou Diamond Phillips, Tamara Podensky, Deborah Wilson, LeVar Burton, and Mark freaking Strong as Mighty Nine villain Trent Ickathon. And yes, I am beyond excited to see him play that character in that upcoming series. But on the other hand, I will admit that I am a little disappointed that there were no hobbits this year. For those of you who don't know, Dominic Moynihan and Billy Boyd guest starred in seasons 1 and 2. So a lot of us naturally expected either Elijah Wood or Sean Astin to guest star in this season. However, if everything goes according to plan, there should be 2 more seasons of The Legend of Vox Machina, so there's still plenty of opportunity for all 4 boys from the Shire to be included. What we did get was a return of a few Critical Role alums, as both Mary Elizabeth McGlynn and Will Friedle returned as Sarah Hydras and Kasha Vesh, characters that they created and played originally during the campaign. But this year, a third Critical Role alum joins the fold, as Luis Carrasco brilliantly guest stars as his character, Xerxes Aelis, whom he originally played during Critical Role's Exandria Unlimited Calamity. But in a truly fascinating twist, during Season 3, we get to find out Xerxes' fate after the Calamity, a subplot that was actually not part of the campaign that this season was adapted from.
But there is no difference between the gods above and below. They all lie!
And then on top of all that, this season we have the first ever cast member that had a reverse trajectory, as Robbie Damon first played Sarkonis during Season 2 of Vox Machina, and then reprised the role during Campaign 3 of Critical Role. So stick that factoid in your quiver. Alright, now that all the formalities are out of the way, let's start talking about the central cast, starting with the villains. Somehow, every season the threats keep getting bigger, and this season was no exception. Virgal, the Frigid Doom, played by Liam O'Brien, the unrelenting brutish attack dog of the Chroma Conclave. When Thordak wants to express his wrath, he sends the Frigid Doom. There are no ands, ifs, or buts here. Virgal is a monster through and through. There is no bargaining or negotiating with him. So when facing him, you only have two options: to run or fight.
Looks like he abandoned
Thordak, the Cinder King, played by Lance Reddick. The all-powerful commander of the Chroma Conclave is getting closer and closer to achieving his ultimate goal, which is to hatch his own army of chromatic dragons and conquer the world. But as it turns out, the very relic that has increased his power, the Soul Anchor, is also driving him insane. So the question is, will this be to our hero's benefit or disadvantage?
Did it work?
But the biggest surprise this season is that the Cinder King, in spite of all of his immeasurable power, didn't even come close to being the biggest threat. Dr. Anna Ripley, played by Kelly Hu, and Orthax, played by Matt Mercer. Amidst all the chaos with the Conclave, Ripley, the last person on Percy's revenge list, continues to scheme and manipulate all parties involved. And this season, we finally find out her endgame. As it turns out, Ripley is a child of tragedy. And in her effort to create a world without injustice, she has also lost sight of empathy and morality, to the degree that now she is the one to have bonded with the spirit of vengeance, Orthax, and will stoop to the most darkest of evils to achieve her goals.
There ain't enough room for us and these crates!
Now there is.
And on a less serious note, I'm always blown away by the diverse number of characters that Matt Mercer plays. And I am so happy that they have continued the tradition of including multiple Matt cameos throughout the season. My favorite this year was the Spice Dealer.
You spice it?
And thus, we arrive at the true big bad for the season. Rayshawn, the Deceased Deceiver, played by Cree Summer. The Deceiver fully and truly lives up to her name, as she starts manipulating and playing all sides against each other, all so she can execute her own nefarious scheme, one that could truly put an end to Vox Machina, and possibly the world. And I cannot compliment Cree Summer enough. The creators made the right call when they chose to give such an important role to a veteran voice actor, as Rayshawn has some of the most pivotal and emotionally heavy scenes of the season. And Cree Summer, as per usual, handled every single one with expert precision. And in my humble opinion, this is some of the best work of her career. And if she doesn't get an award for playing this character, then the award shows must certainly be rigged.
Without Vox Machina, I couldn't have done any of this. Nor any of what's to come.
Now before we move on to the principal heroes, I have to once again give a shout out to the supporting cast. Gina Torres, Esme Creed Miles, Sunil Mahatra, Eileen Franciosi, Ike Amati, Eugene Bird, Troy Baker, Fred Tatasciore, Tracy Thoms, and Courtney Taylor. And extra special praises to Indira Varma and Stephanie Beatrice, who play Alora Baisorin and Lady Kima of Vord, who were given a lot more substantial roles in the narrative this year, and of course, handled it beautifully.
Once again, just charging in regardless of the danger.
But that's okay, right?
It's what I fell in love with.
And now, without further ado, let's talk about our favorite mischievous marauding misfits, starting with Grog Strongjaw, played by Travis Willingham. With his personal business now concluded, very much like Percy in Season 2, Grog is predominantly relegated to a supporting role to his found family. He's just there to protect them and make sure that they get through their perilous mission in one piece, which is easier said than done. And I will say that his character development has been amazing so far, evolving from the dim-witted younger brother to the proud Papa Bear who will do anything to protect his cubs. Scanlan Shorthalt, played by Sam Riegel. While our favorite belligerent bard has accepted his role as a hero, he still finds himself at a crossroads as he contemplates the far more frightening role of fatherhood, as he desperately tries to connect with his illegitimate daughter, Kaylee, and very quickly discovers that doing the right thing is incredibly difficult, especially when he has to choose between his biological family and his found family, when in the end, they are one and the same.
But nothing! Go! Save the world! I'll be here when you're done.
Pike Trickfoot, played by Ashley Johnson. Now, as I have established before, Ashley Johnson was largely absent from Campaign 1 of Critical Role, as she was in New York shooting a TV show.
We all have blind spots.
I get it. So one of the biggest pleasures of Season 3 is seeing Pike be included in more crucial portions of the story, and even get her own character arc, in which her belief is put into question, and she starts toying with the notion that maybe it is better to have faith in herself.
It's not the armor, it's me!
Vaxel Dan Vassar, played by Liam O'Brien. Now that the handsome half-elf has embraced his fate, no matter how grim it might be, the question becomes, is it still worth it to embrace happiness, in spite of having the foreknowledge of a tragic outcome? And personally, I think it's absolutely beautiful that he still chooses to have a few brief moments of joy with Keyleth, in spite of being aware of all the pain that he will endure later.
I would gladly give my soul for one day of your happiness.
Percival Frederickstein von Musil Klosowski the Rollo III, played by Taliesin Jaffe. So Matt wasn't the only creator/cast member to get a cameo this year, as Taliesin makes a brief appearance during the flashback when the party meets Percy. And that is pretty freaking awesome, and I really hope to see cameos from all the cast members before the series ends. Alright, let's talk about our favorite brooding nobleman. We finally see Percy's character arc be resolved, as he started out as nothing more than an agent of vengeance, but then discovers that there is more to life than just revenge, and struggles with his baser instincts, as there is still one person alive who owes him recompense. His final confrontation with Ripley is imminent. The question is, when the time comes, will he choose vengeance or justice?
Stop! It was Ripley.
Vexalia Vassar, played by Laura Bailey. I have to say, this season the ladies stole the show, with Vex being at the forefront of the charge. As the de facto leader of our merry band of mercenaries, she is someone who feels like she cannot afford sentiment or attachments. But when those attachments present themselves to her, namely in the form of a potential romance with Percy, our regal ranger is faced with a choice of her own, to block out sentimentality or give in to it, exposing the most vulnerable side of her being, her heart.
I love you, darling. My heart. It's yours.
Keyleth of the Arashari, played by Marisha Ray. But the biggest change and most impressive character progression goes to our favorite delightful druid, as we have seen Keyleth grow from a shy, doubtful, reluctant ally to a badass leader, kicking off the season as the first and for the most part, only member of the team to see through Rayshawn's deception.
Rayshawn, go yourself.
Hashtag Keyleth was right. As brave are those who stand up to their enemies. Braver are those who stand up to their friends. And Keyleth sticks to her guns through most of the saga, eventually becoming the only one with a will strong enough to challenge the deceiver.
Only one thing remains.
Yeah, for you to die.
Season 3. The theme this season was faith. as each character struggles with what they believe in: religion, destiny, love, vengeance, responsibility, self-reliance, friendship, and family. And each and every one of them is given a very difficult choice. So in spite of the dangers and dragons ahead, the true conflict is an internal one. Should our heroes be governed by their beliefs, or should they just let go and believe in themselves? Is it okay to fight for something other than a personal agenda? Is it okay to fight for your found family? Is it okay to have faith that in spite of all the turmoil, there will be a better tomorrow? And the beautiful thing is that our heroes are always willing to take that risk, no matter the emotional consequence.
Kiki, ready for the big one?
Let's go.
My favorite episode this season was number 9, Thordak's Throne, later retitled Thordak. Here, after many trials and great loss, the heroes of Exandria make one final stand against the Cinder King, and it is glorious. This episode includes some of the most impressive and powerful moments in the series thus far. If this episode doesn't convince you of the greatness of this show, I don't know what will. Final verdict. I love this show. Never have I ever seen a piece of media that so effectively continues to check all my boxes. With brilliant, well-developed characters, eloquent and emotional stories, astonishing animation, mind-blowing action, and the boldness to embrace tragedy alongside triumph. And thus, I am revealing here and now that this is my favorite season thus far. And while I am overjoyed that this show has been renewed for a 4th season, I hope that it also gets renewed for a 5th, because this show really truly deserves for its story to be concluded properly. 10 points in the badassitude meter! Grab yourself some chicken, don't forget to say no to spice, and give it a watch. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see what lies ahead. Will Vax succumb to his corruption? What secret power is Pike carrying inside? What will become of Exandria when the Whispered One ascends? And how will our heroes be affected when they meet Terry and Darrington? Hopefully we will get answers to all of that and more in Season 4. For now, don't fret. It's almost Thursday.